You know, in hindsight, the cube and missile crisis could have been solved a lot faster if JFK used a destabilizer on the cubes. Welcome back to the factory, everyone. We're going to be checking out the next phase of our adventure. We are here digging away through at about 8,100 meters, digging down further and further, surrounding our excavating channel here. So we have learned a lot in the past two lessons. I'm not going to have a chance to talk about all of it, but hopefully it'll show as we kind of change up our game plan a little bit and how we want to approach this. This is the first time since I edited the last episode that I've actually gotten a chance to play, record, and check out what we need to be doing. So yeah, I have a much clearer picture, I think, of how to keep this, what we're doing, on track and keep things moving. So what we're going to be doing today is selling a lot of our old stuff, building a lot of new stuff, and trying to make the most of it as far as positioning goes. So we'll see that here. First things first, we're going to be selling a lot of things. We might as well be taking our first lesson. This recycling tower, it says it has a 3x3 grid. This little square throws me off every time, but apparently affects every single building in the world, and you could just throw it down. We could then eventually upgrade it. Only need 130k. What are we lacking, actually? Just the red. 10%. Since we're going to sell basically everything, we might as well wait for that last bit of red to come through, so we can just kind of help things along until that's the case. In the meantime, we do have this chromolit that we've been harvesting. This is our new resource. It is a temporal one. It's going to be having an issue of fission, where if we don't keep it in specific containers and keep those containers fed, then it'll gradually all disappear. So we definitely want to make sure that we're staying on top of that. 187k is not something I can really afford right now, but as we really want to tap into our new stuff, we're going to need it. We're going to need to get past that breakpoint somehow, but we still get the active channel cooler, which will be an upgrade to the fans. Don't really need that as much as these level 2 resonators, 64 and 128 on the entropy capacitor and resonator 2. And then, yeah, the only other thing really that we can go for at this stage is the refinery, which I do think has a lot of potential. It looks like it's basically a double impact on the square as long as you keep it rolling. It kind of have a juggernaut effect if you have to keep it active. But this is going to be really solid. It is out of our range right now, since it's going to take a while for us to get the containment vessels all the way up. But yeah, we really want to try to get to this eventually, because doubling things is good. Throwing those around a few key areas is going to make a big difference. So yeah, we're going to be going ahead. We're going to get this disassembly tower, which is the upgrade. You can see by these little icons here that this is the upgrade. So like, I was kind of confused about the excavating channel not really saying this is an upgrade the same way that the industrial stabilizer does. Well, if you look right here, it tells you. It's just a little more subtle about it. But yeah, so we're going to be upgrading our big recycle tower to a bigger recycle tower. We've already got our material, whatever you want to call that, that streamer tower or something like that, and that is going to keep things moving where it's we're not popping popcorn here. We got the little streams flowing in, and that kind of gives us a little bit less clutter as more and more cubes get involved in the process. But yeah, we're just going to keep our machines fed. Click a few reds, and we're about to get our disassembly tower here. So we're not missing anything. It looks good. And bam. So that's going to give us all the full 100% refund on everything that we sell, and that should affect everything. So yeah, the cool thing is, I've been talking about how the compounding cost inflation of each item as you get more and more of the same building becomes a problem. Well, we're going to get a lot back because we're selling so much right now. A big recommendation I would have is, if you're at this stage where you kind of overbought one type of machine, do not upgrade first. Sell first, because you want them to be worth as much as possible when you're selling them. So we're going to sell all this stuff first and foremost, and we'll buy an upgrade very soon. So we're going to be going ahead, destroying a lot of machines. So we're going to keep, of course, our little alert guy. He's going to stay up. But I'll keep the vats too. All that stuff. So it's mostly going to be around this area. We have an AO1, and it's our first one. We kind of want to keep them for posterity, but a little sentimental value there. But otherwise, we're just kind of demolishing this stuff. And it's not that this stuff isn't valuable. It's just not optimal in what it can contribute. And we have a game plan of where we're actually going to be contributing it. We want to make sure these silos are fed, and just and anything in general that's lighting up here, we want to make sure is fed. But I'll talk a little bit about how we're going to approach this moving forward to make sure that we're making the most of our stuff. Real quick, I'll make sure I have a lot of black cubes after selling all the stuff. So we definitely have enough for that new excavating channel, which is going to be our first step. So yeah, I can't really get a good picture of what I need other than some blue, because, well, I've just got a lot of new resources to work with here. In fact, I probably will go for that containment vessel, I'd say, just to kind of get closer to that refinery. So we'll go ahead and fill that up, keep this silo rolling, and we'll be good. You can tell it's going to take quite a bit to get the last few. So we have to get over like a 256 threshold, which means we're going to need a few more than what we currently have. Right now, I think we have 128 plus another 32. So yeah, you're looking at we're a little bit short right now. Anywho, so yeah, let's talk about the game plan. Let's go ahead, look over at the other side. Hopefully I have it up. So we're starting, you'll see at the top here, we were starting pretty simple. We're like, okay, let's focus on just getting this entire thing surrounded, all four sides. And that's cool. That's definitely going to be a nice way to maximize if I am very limited on these excavating channels. But what turns out is that because of the ballooning costs, it's not just the channels that are limited, it's all sides. We have to make the most of the right side of the board, the bottom of the board here. We need to kind of connect these channels together so that we're getting more value out of these machines here. So I kind of mirrored the setup here. This is still the main setup, but then mirroring it so it flips horizontally here. We can then take advantage of this entire center row on both the left and the right, and then top and bottom, same thing. So the idea here is we can try to get a lot of injectors in and try to get a lot of value out of those if we feel like it's going to speed things up, because you put the held gem in, you break it really quickly with a held gem destabilizer, and it cruises through. But what we're going to try to do is diversify our builds. We're not really going to follow this to a T. This is, a good idea of where the injectors would go if we had a dozen of them. But we don't necessarily have that because, as you can see here, compounding price inflation, we see that the hell gem destabilizers cost 50% more each. The hell gem injectors cost 50% more each. That adds up really quickly. So we'll have a few of them for sure, and we'll be able to take advantage of them in part, but we can't just rely on them to fill the whole board. We'll put them in some key spots to start things off, and we'll kind of go from there. And that's okay because they'll have an alternative route where we'll be able to go for the entropy, the different kinds of resonators, and the standard industrial destabilizer until I get something new. So yeah, we'll see really where this goes, but this is kind of the general game plan. It's not perfectly siloed out where I'm going to have it fully automated or anything, but it covers the green spots, which are going to be the hungriest, and still kind of gives good coverage on the outside as well. So that's what I'm going to go with. Again, I'm not going to follow it perfectly, but let's try not to spend too much time staring at that because we want to go back over to the actual action here on the screen. Hopefully that makes a bit of sense. Now we've got our excavating channel. We definitely want to make sure we place this correctly. So let me pull up my own sheet and use that as a reference point here. So it's going to be 6 over. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, we want to start with the AO1, which would be cheaper if we just sell these boys. I'm definitely selling this one at least. And yeah, posterity or no posterity, we don't want to inflate our costs too much with the blue, which we're going to be eating into pretty quickly. So yeah, we have this guy here. He's going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not nearly as separated as it was before, where I was trying to give everything its own space, make sure we had space to build out. I really just want to make sure we're connecting and making the use of things. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to surround it with a few fans here. Technically could go with 3 fans probably, but we just want to make sure we're on top of this. Then we need to go into the reverse valve. This also apparently doubles in cost as you put it down, but because we upgrade it so often, it doesn't really matter too much, and we don't have that many of them either. Like the resonators and destabilizers were the thing that I was spamming a bit hard there. But now we've got our pump station up, and this actually doesn't inflate in cost at all. It's always going to cost 8,000 apparently. I always kind of forget that, this kind of gets things up. I'll just go ahead and sell it, and we'll need to break through this space before we really start pumping, so to speak. So let's actually try to get a little bit of the build going before we get into that. Okay. Maybe I can just put one up here temporarily. And yeah, think about where we want to put everything. Okay, so yeah, our progress has stalled out a little bit. We definitely need to get a move on trying to build things up. If I just try to see... I didn't really think about how close to my build plan things currently are. But let's go ahead and just keep things fully in line with it for right now, and we'll see where there's kind of pitfalls. So first and foremost, we want the silo here. It'll affect everything nearby it. And fill that up. This looks good on this line. Empty. And then this guy was a... what do they call it? A Hellgem destabilizer. And that looks good as well. What did I already messed it up. Oh, I'm looking at the right, there's like 4 grids here, and I'm looking at the rightmost one as the leftmost one. Getting myself a little bit confused. No, there's going to be no Hellgem destabilizer here. It's going to be actually the Hellgem injector that we're going to be putting here instead. And try to make the most of that side of things. So I was probably getting rid of this guy as well. This is the destabilizer. Boom, boom, boom. Just double checking everything's good over here. Cool. Feed a few of these. Not too much, just a few every once in a while. I do kind of wish that I could scroll through this a little bit faster and more conveniently, but it's all good. Yeah, so this will affect 4 blocks, which is going to be ideal once we kind of have the mirror side. There you go, froze up a bit. Okay, great. And we're going to have one above the silo as well. As long as they're within range of a Hellgem destabilizer, they'll be easy. But like this one, for example, is going to have a hard time because it's not. So that's where we need to upgrade this guy to a Hellgem destabilizer. So I've sold a few of those, so I should have plenty of assets for it. This one here. As well as the one up above it here. So this is currently a resonator. We want to get rid of that. We will need to get a resonator up here, but for right now we're going full destab. The idea here is try to optimize like the number of individual pieces that are next to each other, but to make sure that you have at the bare minimum a resonator and a destabilizer next to each potential block spawn. Okay, so that means this guy shouldn't be a destabilizer, right? Let me double check. We have a resonator above it and 2 to the left. Okay. Okay, now we can crunch through these ones really quickly. You see here, they're just crushing it, no problem. So we're going to get a lot of resources out of that side of things. As long as we are continuing to keep them fueled, which again, that's why we want to get the silos on the outside. I'm going to probably prioritize the silos that make the most sense. Right now it is scaling. Fortunately, they only scale 10% per unit, but that's still, 50k. It's going to add up pretty quickly. We'll have to clear that out in a little bit. Okay. So the resonators so far, yeah, seem to be in a good spot on the right side here. We're going to mostly work on the internal here. Even going this high up wasn't necessarily my intention because I actually really want to get more over here. I could, I guess, try to build more north towards the rock, but I think I'll just stick with what I have right now. It's fine. So that gets the base stuff online. Is this supposed to be resonant? I thought it was supposed to be the pump. It is supposed to be the pump. I don't know how... I guess I was trying to clear these rocks out. Briefly. We can do that, no problem. It's a fresh pump. How hard could it be? Take care of those. Get our resonator sold, and then, yeah, we want to fill in the gaps before we really start building further into it. So next to our silo here, we're going to build another resonator. And eventually we should probably go for resonator 2. So I think that's probably a good place to start it. Is going to be putting a resonator 2 right here. And the sooner we get those online, it means actually the other resonators ones that we buy will be cheaper. So it's actually pretty good to do that early on. So we'll start with that right here. Clock it away at that. It does take some chromolit, but we're happy to spend that. And they're very shiny. They're very cool looking. Triple speed. I'm excited about that. Alrighty. So this guy's gonna have to go. These destabilizers look a little bit too much like the Hellgem injectors for my taste, just like off the cups, but obviously they're using a lot of the same technology, so that's fine. Another destabilizer right over here. And then right next to that, another injector if we can afford it. It's going to be a little too expensive for the moment, but if we start chopping a few of these, get some more of our sumps online. Cool. And now we are going to want to pump this up. Get this pump rolling so that we can actually start harvesting out of this. It means that we will have a few blocks we have to manually click through, but hopefully not the end of the world. Just as long as I put the Hellgem breakers up before I put the Hellgem extractors, or the injectors, then we'll be fine, I think. Alright, reverse valve, bam, auxiliary pump. And just shy of the pump station, we'll see that pop in just a second here. But until then, we'll just kind of fill it up and get it rolling. Yeah, I don't really need more oxidizers. We just need to keep them active. So, did I do the... Okay, as long as I fuel these things. I was like, why is it taking so long? I felt like I had the destabilizers in place. I did, but I didn't fuel them yet. That's because we're actually rapidly approaching another silo position. And then we're going to want to build down underneath here too. So as soon as we are able to get to our next threshold, 178k on the black, then we're going to be able to reconfigure this to also mirror down here and get the most value out of that. For the moment, I'll just kind of spend a little bit of time while we're waiting, Clearing out some extra stuff I don't need. The ones that don't have hell gems anyways, the ones that do have hell gems, they're going to take a little while. Yeah, nostalgia is one thing, but efficiency is a whole nother. We kind of want to make sure we're staying efficient. Is it worth hell gem destabilizing this, or just kind of leaving it for right now? Probably just leave it for right now, and we'll keep an eye on it. Alright, that's important. Gonna keep these things fed. That'll allow us to kind of burn through a lot of stuff very nicely. Yeah, the idea is that the green you should not be hearing that green sound too much. If you are, then you're making a mistake. Alright, so you're seeing a lot more red pour in than we had before, just based on the increased pacing here, and as soon as this gets down to the red levels, then it's going to be great. That's tricky, actually. I just realized since we're starting new AO2s, they're going to have to go through the hell gem levels themselves. So even the areas that don't have hell gem injectors, they're going to need hell gem destabilizers just to get through the green part, just to get through that, I don't know, 6,000 meter mark. I think 6,200 is when it switches over. So we'll have to keep that in mind. Oh, we're already at the reds. Okay, so yeah, we're rapidly approaching the next mark. You're seeing just the meters fly up here because we have a better configuration than we did in the past, and that's great. Glad to see it. We're still going to have these hell gem destabilizers, so either way we'll be able to punch through it, but you're going to see any of the areas that aren't getting hit, we'll just leave a bunch of blocks that we're not really ready to break through yet. Okay, we've definitely got the pump, right? Let's go ahead and bring that pump up. Pump station is fueled and ready to go. And there's a few other areas that could use some help. So it's just a regular destab? Okay. Okay, good to keep in mind. But yeah, knowing the power of selling things and knowing that you don't have to just like put a recycling tower next to everything you sell, that makes a big difference in terms of how you approach moving your different buildings around. I can tell it's going to get a little cluttered here. I'm going to turn the sound just a tiny bit down. I know crunchy rock sound is cool, but there's a lot of it right now. And it adds up for sure. Alright, so next was going to be a silo over here. I'm going to get enough red that that's feasible. Little blue action never hurt either. Just feels like there's going to be a few things that we need that are filling that up quite a bit. So silo's not going to be there. It's actually going to be here next to the theoretical injector that we are going to be putting down. Yep, that all makes sense. With how quickly this stuff runs out when it's flowing at maximum speed, I kind of do feel like I might just need a plan where silos are across the board. So I'm trying to think about how I want to approach that. Like, the corners will only have one destabilizer if I turn one of those into a silo. I could put a silo in the... Oh, actually, that's the play. If I turn this resonator into a silo, that's going to help out a lot. It's going to hit a lot of spots that are currently not under... supervision of the resources. Still gonna have to fill the silos every once in a while. Not uncommon for these guys. They refill 16 machines, some of them more often than others. So yeah, it kind of adds up, and you're still gonna have to kind of check them out, click them out, and keep things moving. The oxidizer's online. Keep on burning that red. And then we'll put a silo right here. It's pretty good spacing. So we're at the hell gem tier here now, at 1500. probably want to keep these blocks up and running until we get through the hell gem stuff. And once we start seeing chromolit and start seeing no more greens on this side, then that's when we can break through these back blocks and kind of fill it out all the way. Don't think I'm going to be doing a time-lapse for this episode. It takes a little bit of extra time to go through recording stuff, and I really just want to make some progress in the game, so that's going to be kind of my current approach. It's just going to go in raw. Hopefully we can get some real progress here. I might have broken everything. There we go. Fixed it. Just want to check the time. But I also want to see my design schematic. Yeah, if I move just one or two things around, there should be only like a couple of blocks that aren't getting hit by the silo, which is fine and inevitable, I would say. How long is it going to take to get to the next big digger? The excavating channel, 178. We dig through here. It looks like we have shortage. All right, there. Fill that guy up. He'll fill up the rest. That'll be great. It's such a big difference once we get all the machines working together, cooperating. I really do want to check out the new kind of resonator as well. It what it does is it tries to one-shot blocks. It's actually really good for when you're farming out the early AOs levels, because it could just break them as they spawn. The issue is that I think that they would do their one attack before the Hell Gem injector works, and that means that they can't really couple with those. So when we're in the Hell Gem injector area, we're not going to be seeing a lot of these entropy capacitors, but in a lot of other contexts are really good for that. This silo is actually burning through things a lot faster than I thought. It all comes down to how many times it has to do refuels, which turns out to be quite a bit. Ooh, a new excavating channel ready to go. We're going to go ahead, of course, start with the AO1. We're going to make sure it's 6 down from here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And bam. It's harder to kind of get a blueprint in your head and put that actually onto the field, because there's, you know, less of a blueprinting system, first and foremost, but also because it's just the isometric angle. It's a little bit different, but it's still gonna be great. I'm just gonna put a few of these capacitors down and around, so we can kind of punch through this. So let's get the fans down first, which will be here, 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 here. And eventually you're going to be seeing the reverse valve and the pump stuff over here, just to keep that mirror effect going. But as far as capacitors go, there we go. The tone changes so much when you're missing a few key things. So what we're actually going to be doing is entropy resonators at the corners here. 1, 2. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to turn those into capacitors once I have enough for them, which will be shortly. I just have to go over one more round of this stuff. So we'll go ahead and oxidize as much as we can. And then, yeah, we're going to be filling those out. Let's see. Yellow's pretty easy to get our hands on. We're going to have to get blue going after the initial pop. And keep it fed, or nothing will work. I probably didn't need to fuel those. I don't know if that gets refunded when you upgrade. I imagine not, but we'll see. Okay. couple more of these. That's all of our oxidizers online, so we're already kind of seeing a significant increase in how much red we're producing. And we can go ahead and build one more. Great. All right, and these should start popping here in a second. And that's our entry capacitor here to one-shot some blocks. Requires 8 fuel. And the next one's going to cost... Looks like we have the resources in general for it. We really just need the chromolit, which we are farming pretty quickly, I think. I'm honestly, the game's growing on me a bit. I think that the diversity in how you kind of build things and plan things is pretty interesting. It's a nice little puzzle. I think that it's still more about like design, and it's still more about like positioning and organizing your different pieces rather than it is about just like creating the most throughput chain that you can. So it's a very different kind of game, but I like it. You just have to... I just wish I had all the information up front, right? Like, I wish I understood a little bit better of how all the pieces rely on each other to keep going. But we're here, and it seems to be working, so. 167. I think we might as well just get things moving in the meantime. And we can do that with the auxiliary pump. And then shortly the pump station. We just need these blues to pop. I'm curious if silos feed each other. I don't really want to test that just this particular moment, but I guess we can always sell it right after, right? Put 2 silos together. Perpetuum schmobile. Perpetuum schmobile. Yes, the idea is that each silo, as long as they're desynced and they don't run out simultaneously, they'll keep feeding each other, which is great. Allows you to kind of create a nice little setup where you don't have to ever take a look at them. And if you really just want to, if we get to a point where we need to fully automate like that, we have the option to do so. Just put 2 back-to-back silos, and it will significantly reduce our ability to maintain high throughput production, because there's so much more power if you are able to put the more crunchy machines together. I don't know a good way to say that. But that being said, yeah, if it scales up to a point where we can't even click the silos, or we're getting so distracted clicking the silos we're making no other progress elsewhere, then yeah, we want to try to design around double silo action. So you can make things fully automated right now. You could just double silo it and go from there. But we're gonna go a different route for now, and we'll just kind of see what makes the most sense. You know, some people lay AFK idle style, some people really dig into it. You have to just kind of figure out what works best for you. There's the pump station, and now we can fill that up and start things going. Resonator 2. Yes, I'm hoping this resonator breaks it quickly. These survived long enough that it actually seems to be not ideal to have the Resonator 2 all by itself. So my understanding of it was I would probably always wanted a Resonator 2. This is a capacitor? Yeah, it's a capacitor. So I kind of expected I'd always want a Resonator 2 next to a capacitor. Like, you don't want it only to be, the capacitor alone, but I thought that pre-destabilization, you could break level 1 blocks. And it seems like that is not the case. So, let's take a quick look at where our destabs go. Bam, bam, bam. We're referencing my little sheet here. It looks like there will be one right in between the two, which will cover a lot of good ground. I think I want to go with that first. Now, if we break these, they should just be destroyed nonstop, right? Maybe, maybe not. Oh, I didn't feel it. Duh. There we go. Now let's try it. It's close to it. It's extremely close to being destroyed off the bat, but it's not there quite yet. So we need more destabilization. And I already planned on putting some right here. But since we don't have the ability to get this refinery thing, the double damage, I'm just going to go ahead and put it here where the refinery would go. We can always sell it later. And with the industrial destab here, ready to roll, this should just continuously break nonstop, which is going to be great. Yeah, the capacitor can feel a little underwhelming. I get the idea behind it and how it can be really good, but I'm not sure yet. It's like it's kind of binary. It either really works or it doesn't. And that comes down to the durability. And I always like things to scale better later. That's why I'm kind of doing the Hell Gem thing, which frankly isn't that necessary to break through these kinds of blocks. But it feels good to know that even if it gets a lot harder to break these rocks, that we'll have what we need to do so. All right, we were lacking blue heavily, so we're going to keep these fueled, and we are overflowing on red, so we're going to go on this side as well. As soon as we get the black from those red bombs, though, that should be giving us plenty to get another containment vessel and continue to make our way towards some fancy new stuff. So we're good to be red here. How much do I need for another capacitor? Like I said, at the very least, the capacitor, just because it has a different name, will make it so that I don't inflate my cost of my regular resonators too much, which is a good thing. Alright, let's try to pay attention to our refills where we need to, when we need to. How are we doing on distance here on this guy? 30,000. So we're entering Hell Gem territory. It's going to be a little tough to break at points, but it'll be pretty good overall. And we're actually lacking blue and yellow just enough that we're going to have to go back to the vats. There we go. That's what we needed. And as those pop off, we're getting in a better position to break more of this in. We're using it real quick, but that's okay. Now we're short on yellow, which we're going to be able to produce pretty quickly as well. So it's all going to work out in the end. Okay, so now we got the Hell Gem. So we need a Hell Gem destabilizer on the side, because we've made it to hell on the bottom left one. And that's where I feel like maybe I'm overemphasizing Hell Gems on this side, because like I need to make sure I don't have too many of these. Again, 50% increase. I have 6 of them. That's a massive cost increase when it compounds. that makes it very hard for me to keep up with. So I feel like I need to lay off the hell gems a bit over here. Got a hell gem destabilizer, got a hell gem destabilizer. I feel like I want to get rid of this injector. And then that will allow me to get rid of these destabilizers. Well, that does kind of hurt, very negatively impact the top side. Again, I really want to focus on the center over here. The meat of it is this interior, and that's going to allow me to kind of keep up with things. So we'll go ahead and hell gem destabilize right here. That's going to cover a lot, and that allows us to chew through the big ones that spawn. Okay. We got enough for a resonator 2 or a capacitor. So I could either make this one a capacitor, but I think the smarter thing is to make this one a resonator 2 right here. And that way this top row will just get crunched through no matter what we're dealing with. And we heard the silo. We've got to make sure we're on top of that. And we'll just kind of make this like the mega center of everything. The red must flow, and we must oxidize it. I have a lot of black going now, which is great. A few things that I want to do with that. One thing was this containment vessel, but we do kind of seem like we're using our chromolit actually pretty actively. So increasing our bank size, it doesn't really make that much sense. Instead, I think we can go for the new channel and do something similar to what we had before. So this is going to be 6 over like the others. So if it starts here, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And yeah, I think I was just overemphasizing in a big way, overemphasizing making sure that I'm using the entire square of what spawns instead of just emphasizing what's the most optimal to do. And we're going to see more of that here. So here, hell gem destab. In a similar way, we're going to want some channel coolers. That's here. Okay. So match it here. Put a reverse valve here that will upgrade soon. And then go for those. I just sold a couple of resonators, so I should have definitely the wherewithal to make that happen. And then right in between them, we'll put the destabilizer. And that'll be giving us a good starting point here, as we need to upgrade to the pump station, just making sure we can't get an upgraded resonator, but I think we're in a good spot. And double checking my thing. Oh, is that actually the left side? Doesn't matter. Oh yeah, yeah, okay, doesn't matter at all. Like I said, when I get to the catalyst, then I'll use it, but for right now, we're kind of still in the preliminary stages getting that tech online. Like this, one of those. And then just because we can, we'll make a hell gem destabilizer here to get through the hell phase on this new guy. But we don't need that yet, so let's go ahead and just bring in the pump. Auxiliary pump. And our pump station. And now we are cooking. Silo down. Did I just sell a silo? I didn't mean to. I just sold the pump station too. My bad. Sometimes you leave Q on and you forget about it. Alright, so underground silo, very important. Right here. Take that off, fill it up. And then, yeah, we're going to go ahead and bring in the pump again. I didn't lose too much out of that. Not too much at all. Pump it up. So just because of the destabilization aspect, we're going to be able to come through this pretty quick. But if we go ahead and add in a little bit of clicking, we can just burn this through this real fast. I got to make sure we're free filled first, though. That's a higher priority than clicking on a single rock. Because make sure everything's running as it should be. Yeah, maybe I do really want to go for the double silo design, because I'm already feeling it, where it's like, yeah, I can click through a lot of this stuff, but it detracts kind of from what I'm trying to do actively in the game. And sometimes it's just kind of hard to see. Like, there's such a mess on the screen already, and I can't zoom out. If I could zoom out, I would feel less worried about it, but because I can't zoom out, it gets a little laggy when everything's processing at once. Yeah, I kind of want to try to see how I can automate it to not worry about that side of things. Had the entropy resonator there for a second. $185. All right, chromolit. You're looking good again. Maybe we do want to get another container for you. 243 is required for that. It's like, oh, do I want more resources, or do I want, when I get to the blue, that I can actually use it? I think as long as I'm doing the upgrades from the blue, that I'm still using it, and I can always sell it back later. It's like, it's actually an alternative bank. That's an interesting approach. I don't actually need 256 max capacity to use the catalyst. What I need to do is invest it into an upgraded entropy resonator and then sell it right when I want to buy the thing. And for at least a few seconds, you won't lose basically any, and then fission will occur for a few, but not that many. So as long as you buy quickly after selling, you can live your dreams. So maybe we go that route. If we look at, I was going to put it just, there's silo, and then right here is where I was going to put it. So an extra hitch is that there is a block here blocking it, but yeah, it still seems doable. So the capacitor is 167, for example. That would definitely put us within range if we just do it really quickly. Let's make sure we have the other resources, though. We need a lot of red. We're getting that pretty soon. We have enough black, yellow, not enough blue, though. Okay, let's prep for that. I really want to see this double impact thing in action. I think it can be really good. And the place I have in mind will hit 3 different spots, so pretty good. 3 block spawns getting double when they already have like the not perfect, but a high investment building structure surrounding it. Yeah, I'm all about that. Yeah, we're already hitting this cap, though. Yeah, it's fine. As long as we buy the stuff we need to buy. It will be harder for later refineries because they'll have amplified cost. $131,000. And have these guys pop, and I think we're close to it. Yeah, so the lore here has evolved a little bit. These text messages are starting to imply that the friend from his memories, from his previous life, doesn't actually exist. That he's just a part of this system as much as anything. That there isn't really a real world, at least not one that has any tangible meaning, because the guy would remember his own name if he independently existed. So he's in some ways. Oh god, I gotta turn this down. It's so loud. I like some aspects of the sound design, but it can add up, you know. But yeah, he's basically admitting to being a player, like a background character, like a side character that, in the context of this, our perspective's existence, did not get nearly as much blue as we wanted. We're gonna Karenite sump it up again. Can we get some more Karenite sumps? Sump. Shouldn't hurt too much to get these. We will need a few yellows, but overall not bad. And then I'll have to check on our red count, how much red we actually need. So double the yield is going to be great, because that just like makes a big difference. Because at this stage, it's giving you the resource combinations you want. We don't... Once you go past blue, do you come back? Like, once you get past chromolit, does it even spawn anymore? So, like, making the most of the chromolit tier that we're at is going to be valuable. Obviously, we still have to be able to hold on to it, but that comes next. I just hope it doesn't, like, do, like, a chain reaction fission where it immediately goes down to the value you don't want. That would be bad. Alright, let's see where we're at. Blue is the main thing we're waiting on. We're doing good on red, so I'll go ahead and pop a couple of those. Just need to be 131k for it. 8,000 for the purple. Will this be enough yellow? Will this be enough blue? All of it seems... Because the silos are still going. Like, we're still refueling this stuff. It still costs the continuous resources. So what we're seeing is that unless we're continuously providing the vats and the sump, whatever they are, then it's going to be kind of extracting... core resources from our inventory to fill up the machines. Machines have a tax, they have a cost, and while overall the net value is still increasing, our red supply and consequently our black supply very high, we have to be manually resupplying these non-red materials, as that's the only thing that's really flying in right now. Okay, we're at Hell Gem tier here. Maybe that's a good distraction for the moment. Do we have Hell Gem Destabilizer? Do we want a Hell Gem Destabilizer? Yeah. So I'm going to take a lot of green off the map. I'm going to keep the green in the center. I think that totally makes sense, but like the outskirts do not need nearly as much green as I was kind of going for. So where are my current Hell Gem injectors? I'm not even seeing them. There's the Hell Gem injector. Okay. So I've got this Hell Gem injector. And then I got one down here too, right? It ended up being not placed. Let's see, this is the center, right? So 2 to the left. It's supposed to be right here, but instead I put an entropy resonator too, which I'm not sure exactly why. So this is the one I can sell, and then I can do the Hell Gem thingy, but also means I have one less Hell Gem Destabilizer put over here, which we need to get through the Hell Gem tier. So yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that. We'll go ahead and refuel this, since we're going to be selling this one instead. But basically, we need temporary Hell Gem Destabilizers over here, and then we need legit ones later. So As it stands right now, I'm not sure. That's a hull jump destabilizer. Right next to it's supposed to be an injector. There's a few ways we can go with that. As long as we have one in range of this stuff, then we can sell one of these. Hull jump destabilizers. It's hitting a spot that we're going to be filling momentarily anyways. But we'll buy for right now, because we do want to keep this moving. Is this the right spot? As good as any, I suppose. Alright, so that should be able to burn through this stuff a lot faster, because I've got two regular destabilizers, one hull jump destabilizer. It's kind of the perfect mix, and two resonators. So it's not going to be the super fast click, 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 bam, 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 but it's definitely going to be continuous improvement and movement in the right direction. Once again, we're a little bit too high on the red. We're a little bit too low on the yellow. It's going to be hard to get those materials placed. I guess when I am selling one of the entropy resonator thingies, I'll get some back, like maybe 1k yellow if I sell the capacitor, which capacitor is not doing much. Like, this guy's just sitting here because he's killing these blocks. He's still hitting those. I don't know, he's basically doing 6 hits in one, but if he attacks at 1/3 the speed compared to this guy, then it just takes 2 standard attack cycles for this one to be better. So yeah, I'm not feeling the capacitor other than, again, the discount to all non-capacitors. But I'll get rid of this resonator because it's in the wrong place, and we'll kind of figure it out from there. Please, I need more VATs. I think during like the offline stream time at the end of the last one, I actually think I sold a few VATs, so this might be why that side of things is a little bit slower. But we can go ahead and just get a few more, right? Alright. Hoping we're getting close to what we need for something new. Refinery. Check mark on black, on yellow, soon to be blue, soon to be red. And when I sell something, it'll be chromolit as well. Get some refills over here, very important. Yeah, so if you don't approach it the right way, this game can be extremely hard and tedious. It's really about understanding the systems and understanding limitations and building around it. And I think I'm approaching that rapidly. Like, yeah, it's still going to be work in progress while our AO2s dig a bit deeper, but once these are all 6200 or above, like, I think I've got a really good game plan to try to make the most of the limitations that we're seeing. Alright, yellow again, still lacking. We only need 1,000, so that's fine. 8,000 from blue is kind of the bigger one that we needed. So we can even go this far and just go ahead and drop these. Won't slow anything down. Alright, here comes the blue. Looks good, looks good. Anything else? I think across the board we have what we need. Double checking, yes. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to put a refinery, just double checking, yeah, right here. Yeah, destabilizer, resonator, and there's gonna be a refinery right here. So if I Sell this. And then put down a refinery real quick. Boom. Before fission occurs, we now have something that we normally would not be able to afford. And it does require 16 and 1,024 to refuel. The silo will have that here in a second. It's going to be great. Boom. And that's fueled. So now theoretically these guys are giving us double reds for each of these spots, double blues for whenever they spawn in. And that's the sound effect. Oh, maybe because it's like it hit a critical mass, right? So it says, is he going to keep doing that? Consumes adjacent broken resources. After accumulating 1,024 resources, it releases everything with an additional bonus. The amount of bonus increases with each consecutive release, reaching up to 100%. Yep, so that's going to be something it continuously does whenever it gets 1,000, whatever. And the faster the cubes around it are consumed, the more often we're going to hear that sound effect. So, not my favorite of all these. Like, there's a few that are pretty musical. That one's, you know, it feels like you're in a machine. You're part of the machine, so to speak. Maybe it'll become the rhythm, the percussion, your cymbals. And then, yeah, I don't like this capacitor, so we're going to sell that. I just want to double check that that will leave me with enough to get the thing out. I mean, it won't put me over the cap for the blue, the chromolit anyways, so I might as well just sell it now. And then, yeah, of course, we'll need a resonator here. And then upgrade to resonator 2. Bam. We're cooking. So we should be able to punch through a lot of this stuff now. We've got a Hell Gem destabilizer. There's still, I think, some natural Hell Gem spawns at this stage. I'm not even sure. No, we're this one's still natural Hell spawn. So yeah, 4,500 is like Hell Gem Central. We're slowly approaching Hell Gem Central, but you know, we're progressing each of these individually, which is really cool to see. There's something to be said about just kind of moving forward on all 4 of these different spawners and getting closer to kind of our optimal set. Oh god, okay, I thought these were empty for a second, but that's not really possible with the silos unless I somehow run out of Hell Gems, which I've got 170,000. I think we'll be okay for a while. So yeah, just gonna go and fill up our converters real quick with all that good stuff. And that'll keep us moving towards our next thing. Alrighty folks, well, with over an hour of recording left, including some time-lapse edits, I do think that this is where we're going to call it for this episode here. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what would be a good episode timing. I try to keep it under 2 hours, I think is definitely a good ceiling, but yeah, if you think it's more digestible in 45-minute chunks, or you love to see these big hour 50 long minute episodes, really what kind of suits your preferences in terms of listening, tuning in, I'm very curious about. So yeah, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for tuning in. Of course, you have the option of like, commenting, or subscribing on the video, but more than anything, yeah, I'd love to hear comments on duration. If we want to see this broken up a little bit more into more digestible chunks, or do we want to make sure that we get some progress by the end of the episode, since we're technically still in the chromolit tier, even though the factory is looking so much better than it was. But anyways, either way, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.